The term Ozempic face keeps coming up in my practice. Hollow cheeks, sagging skin, a gaunt appearance that makes patients feel like they've aged years in months. And almost no one is explaining why it's happening. First, how widespread is this? A 2025 systemic review looked at 51 studies on GLP-1 medications and their effects on skin. What they found was a split picture. 34 studies documented adverse effects, and skin changes were prominent among them. 17 studies documented beneficial effects, and we'll get to those in part 2 because they're real and they're being underreported. But let's talk about what's happening to your face. There are two things happening simultaneously on GLP-1 medications, and most of them you've read only explains one of them. The first is straightforward. When you lose fat, you lose it everywhere, including the subcutaneous fat in your face that gives it volume and structure. Hollow cheeks, sunken eyes, more prominent bone structure. That's fat loss, simple physics. The second mechanism is less obvious and more interesting. GLP-1 receptors sit on stem cells that live in fat tissue. Those stem cells do important work. Among other things, they use an enzyme called aromatase to convert androgens into estrogen. That estrogen then signals fibroblasts, the cells responsible for producing collagen, to do their job. So the chain looks like this: stem cells, aromatase, estrogen, fibroblasts, collagen. And collagen is what keeps our skin structurally supported. Think of the GLP-1 receptor as a chair. Normally, your body's own GLP-1, the hormone your gut naturally releases after you eat, sits in the chair briefly and then gets up. The stem cell stays functional and keeps doing its work, including that aromatase estrogen collagen chain. On GLP-1 medications, the drug sits in the chair instead. And unlike your body's own GLP-1, it doesn't get up. The receptor is chronically occupied. That disrupts the stem cell's normal signaling, including the estrogen pathway that supports normal collagen production. So collagen doesn't get formed the way it should. So it's not just that the fat disappears and takes volume with it, although that is absolutely happening. In addition to that, the drug is interfering with your skin's ability to maintain its own structural support. Two separate mechanisms happening at the same time. Here's something most patients don't know. Facial aging is not listed as an adverse event on the FDA label for semaglutide. Ozempic is approved for type 2 diabetes, Wegovy for obesity. The cosmetic consequences of what the drug does to your skin and face, not on the label. So patients aren't being warned about this before they start because prescribers aren't required to discuss it. That's a gap worth knowing about. Part 2, what the research says you can actually do about Ozempic face. Follow so you don't miss it.